because this is based on science, so this is not based on my teachings. I'm just teaching what I've learned from my experience. Because my goal is to help empower more people so we can change our future, because collectively we're changing our future. So by changing the individuals, it's a win-win for all. We're not going to be in this limited reality where we were controlled, lied upon, whatever was happened, right? So a collective group of observers determine reality. We don't change the existing one, we're shifting. That's what this 5D, 3D thing is all about. I don't know if you're familiar about that.
Yes, I
So
am.
we're leaving the 3D. We're not going to change the 3D. We are shifting to 5D by creating it, because it already exists by our thought creation. Does that make sense?
Um, it will
Okay.
eventually once I've
Okay.
let this settle a bit.
Okay.
In the meantime, I have started recording because
That's
like
fine.
I want my audience to catch all of this because we were already on a roll. We were already talking about all the good stuff.
Okay.
So for everyone dropping in now, welcome back to the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. I am your host Stijn Fox. I am here, of course, with the wifey Firefay and with our amazing guest Sophia. Sophia, thank you so much for joining, and for everyone who like already got kind of confused at the beginning. Can you just explain real quick who you are, what you do? I mean, it's already incredibly awesome, but just
Yes. Well,
for the
first of
people
all,
trying to
I'd
listen.
like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I really appreciate giving you the opportunity to explain my best understanding of how reality works. So I am a clinical EFT. So my background started in medicine. So I have a master's in epidemiology, which is the study of diseases. And I was also a network engineer, which means I was a very analytical person and pretty much very mathematical. Due to personal experiences and not being able to heal a life threatening condition, and I was expected to die, I ended up stumbling under Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings. And I started practicing that, but there was a missing piece for me. I could not master my emotions. So I ended up learning a modality, and I became clinical EFT practitioner, chose not to go back to medicine. And as a result, I healed. So I take no prescription drugs, nothing. And I now help individuals. I guide them to set themselves free and become their best version of themselves by using EFT, something that's called hacking reality, basically rewriting the memories in your brain using Dr. Joe Dispenza's neuroscience teachings and some concepts of meta consciousness, which is the biological cause of disease, not the symptoms that medicine teaches us, but what's the biological, what trauma caused this disease. And my hope is for all of us to become empowered. And who are these other people? They're projections of me. So the more I heal others, I'm actually healing myself and the whole collective. So that is my purpose now in life. And I enjoy that way much more than the stress of working in the hospital setting. So that's about me.
I can very much imagine that being much more enjoyable. So you really went from a like very analytic mind to more like more sensitive, more in tune with the body, more in tune with the feelings. Because I have spoken with other guests on this before, like especially nowadays, where too either too stuck in our own mind or too stuck in our own feelings. Like it's either or all rational or emotional, and there is really a disconnect between the two. Um, but yeah, I think that's it sounds incredibly fascinating what you do. I don't think I could do that. I'm happy just, hosting the Graham Pagans podcast and my day job in local law enforcement. That pays the bill and this is what I enjoy. So, um, and you mentioned EFT for those who don't know, which was me until you contacted me. What is EFT exactly?
So it's a energy modality, a somatic energy modality that addresses emotions by using cognitive principles of cognitive therapy and by tapping, physically tapping on the body's meridians, which are the acupuncture points. So I'm going to give some analogy first so people can grasp, and you're a little too young to remember. But first of all, let me address the body is a battery. It's electrical a battery, and it has an electromagnetic field. The proof of it is when a person dies, what do? You put two paddles to jumpstart their heart the same way you do into a car when your car dies out. So
Sure.
so when the electrical signals between the cells do not work and they're supposed to be at a certain voltage, then the message gets corrupted. There's a lot of static in the body, and there's a lowering of frequency, and disease happens, and the body deteriorates. Now, where I addressed that, I think you're too young. I don't know if you remember the old Walkmans. You used
I
to have
do.
a okay, so you had a Walkman and you left the battery in it for maybe 6 months and you didn't use it. And you went to open the Walkman to play. It didn't play because the battery had crystallized, had acidified.
Yeah.
Okay, so the same thing happens inside the body when we have lower frequency emotions. The body, those lower frequency emotions are acidic for the body and they acidify. That's what causes pains and that's what causes the static between the cells. And tapping does by you saying certain sentences. You're releasing that emotion, you're raising your frequency, and the energy starts to move. And it either goes up and it goes down. And so a thought usually will send a signal, I am unappreciated, and you keep on repeating it. I can't believe he did that. There's an emotion that gets triggered in the body. So the thought usually signals neurotransmitters that affect actually the hormones. And now it sends, let's say it's anger, it sends a signal down your spinal cord to your adrenal glands. And now you squirt adrenaline, and now you're fuming and you're angry, and the loop starts. That's what's happening. So with EFT, we want to break that pattern, release that emotion. Why do we want to clear the emotion? First law of thermodynamics. Energy can never be created or destroyed. It can only be transmuted, which is why the trauma we say is stored in the body. A copy is stored in the brain and a second one in the body. Candace Perth, I think she got the Nobel Prize, proved that the body is the subconscious mind. So all trauma is stored in the body and your emotions are stored in the body. So for example, liver holds anger. I know you wanted to ask something.
No, I'm just like things are clicking. Things are lining up. This is lining up with various other teachings that I've become familiar with over the years. But do continue. This is interesting.
So we want to balance the body and change from anger to a neutral or better emotion. And it's the emotion that holds the belief. It's not the other way around. The thought may trigger the emotion, but it's the emotion that holds the belief. And when we release emotion, sometimes off, we knock off many beliefs. So that's basically what we do with tapping. And when we have limiting ideas, we get stuck. We go into a loop because our brains change brain waves. When you're angry, you're going to go to beta brain waves. You're like on a loop. And now you've activated your sympathetic nervous system. When you're angry, it was an old mechanism to help us protect us from the environment. But when you're angry at your coworker and you're seething, I can't believe he did that, and I can't, it goes on and on. Now you're squirting inside your body cortisol. Well, now your sympathetic nervous system is activated. Health and healing is out the window. It's just not going to happen, which is why people have a lot of digestive issues, their pupils dilate, various things happen. So we want to go back into balance. We want to change our brain waves to go to a state of flow, alpha or theta, and start creating what it is. We are spirits that are love mostly, but all the programming has put us in this low frequency, and it's not our fault. It's just we got programmed. Things got hairy in this game, really hairy. And now we're waking up to who we are, and we have to discard those beliefs. So for the audience, I want to know it's not their fault they're sick. It's not their fault that they're limited. These were unconscious uh, experiences that may have happened, or also it could have been an experience your higher self chose so you can wake up to remember who you are. Sometimes the soul picks certain experiences for ourselves.
Yeah, that's that's definitely in line with
This is
well, a lot of
definitely
Fire
interesting.
Faye, her teachings, like a lot of what she I mean, honey, you can like you're here, you can explain it better. Sorry, I'm so used to you like just doing the show.
No, it's okay. Oh, what would you need me to explain, hon?
I mean, I know it's been you know, a lot what she said, but about the higher self and choosing experiences when you know the soul reincarnates into the body, like that's more your side of things.
Oh, basically, like from a very young age, I was always told that you come into this life to fix whatever was going wrong in a previous one. That's basically it.
You're correct. So let me add on that, but from a different perspective. All timelines, all reincarnations are happening right now. So you're here to get all those pieces back to you so you can become wholeness again. So if it's happening on another lifetime and you were traumatized, you may be experiencing in this. And you're here to collect those pieces to heal them so you can ascend the frequency to become a higher vibration so you can move to the next platform, which is a better game, not through suffering and duality. So
That
yes,
makes me wonder if that's why I'm choosing the career path that I am, because I'm currently in school for it. It makes me wonder if that's why I chose it
I mean, perhaps, and
to make
also, you
peace
know,
with stuff.
you've been dealing with it a lot. You've been around it a lot, unfortunately. So it only
But it just
makes
makes me
sense.
wonder if it's helping me come with peace with it, because I've had so many lifetimes where I've been traumatized by death, and then with this one, I'm making peace with it.
correct. So you're healing it. You're absolutely correct. So if you were traumatized by death, and remember, for all of us, not just you, I don't remember the exact Christ consciousness teachings, is to overcome death because death is actually an illusion as well,
This
right?
is
So
blowing my mind because it's like now that I'm like thinking about like why I came into this career path, because like initially I was going to school to become a yoga teacher, and now it's completely changed and I'm going to become a death coach and death doula.
that's lovely. You're healing by who are the others? The others are a projection of you. So by assisting the others heal their challenges, you're actually healing you. There's a famous mystic, his name is Neville Goddard, and it's basically saying, he teaches, uses the Bible for it. Everybody is yourself pushed out, which is the same teaching that other people say. You see the other person through your own filter, right? So through your own limitation. So everybody in your reality is a fractal or an aspect of you from a different angle. So when you heal the other person, you're actually healing yourself.
So like with me helping that soul cross over, I'm helping the parts of me that need to be healed. Is that
Absolutely.
what I'm understanding?
You hit it on the nail. Correct. Because all the characters in your game were created for you to remember who you are and to become whole. That's all the characters.
So that makes me wonder if this is why I'm needing to come in touch with my psychic self again, rather than hide her.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Sorry.
So
you know you can say anything.
I'm going to address two concepts for your audience. So there's I do not follow any religion, but there are some truth in some of the religions. So Christ, which I call Christ consciousness, because I don't focus on the individual, was an Essene. Okay, that was a very high order. And there are the 7 Essene mirrors that Greg Braden talk about, and I use them and incorporate. So the first mirror shows you where you at. So if you're angry, you're going to encounter angry experiences. The second mirror is the mirror of judgment. Now, if you're judging another person, and if you've ever read Carl Jung, that means there's an aspect of you that you're judging yourself. So you cannot be judging another person unless you're judging yourself. To break that mirror, first we need to stop judging the other person, because the more you judge, the more you're going to attract it. And we need to heal that aspect of us that we're judging. Now, people say, well, I didn't do that. And it's never about the story. It's only about the emotion. So it's the emotion you need to trace to see where you're judging yourself. So the question we ask is, what is it that I'm feeling in order for me to experience this? Not why am I feeling that, because that's putting you in the analytical mind. You'll never get the truth. That's the ego route. Forget it. You're going down the wrong goose chase.
Yeah.
So the third mirror is something that was lost or taken away. That is when you are magnetized by a person, or they have everything you are and you're just drawn to them. So if you were traumatized as a child and never learned unconditional love, that mirror is going to show up in your life for you to take that experience so you learn what unconditional love means. Or maybe you were poor and here's a very wealthy person showing up in your life for you to interact. So the key here is to embrace that mirror. Then we have the mirror of the parents. So the way we view the parents, we actually view divinity. So if you felt that the parents were punishing or were fearful, till you change that concept or heal that concept, you will think that God is a punishing God or causes harm and fear, which is why the two Bibles, the concept of God does not match. One God is very punishing and the other one is all loving, right? So again, divinity or God, however you want to call it, is our own projection based on our own experience. You have the mirror of the
Reminds
dark.
me of my childhood. Sorry.
Yes,
Outward thought, sorry.
No, I mean, I was like kind of thinking the same thing, like especially with
Because
the
like on one side, it was like one side had the love and acceptance of everybody, and then on the other side, it was God is a scornful God.
Mhm.
Obey him or you're going to burn in hell. The other side accepted everyone and everything from every walks of life. So it was like very what's the word? Very confusing, where it's like you had to choose one, and if you chose one, the other side was upset. And if you chose that side, the other side was upset.
So they are
Oh.
mirroring each other, and you're just like standing in between the mirrors, not knowing,
I was basically like
which
the mirror, like
reflections
trying
do
to
I
figure out
bring?
yeah, like holding the mirror, trying to figure out who do I
Right.
reflect.
Yeah, and like
And
the true love mirror. I mean, like, sorry, Sophia, but like as you were, telling that, like, I mean, that's Firefang and I to a T. We've been through a lot of the same experiences. We've handled a lot of the
A
same.
lot of synchronicities before we were together and
Yeah,
while together.
yeah. And I mean, it's that like the realization of those synchronicities and that I mean, it took a while for both of us to realize that, we are exactly what the other one needs. But since, now we have realized that and we have accepted it, I mean, our relationship, even from a distance, is, the strongest we've ever had.
Even in different lifetimes. I mean, I hate interrupting and I know she was explaining stuff, but like even in prior lifetimes, that's why I was so afraid of death for so long, is because every life that Fox or Stein and I have ever had is his crazy ex has shown up every single time, and it's either she steals one or she kills the other, if that makes sense. And it makes me wonder if that's why I was so afraid of death and why I was so afraid to even want this in this lifetime because of what's happened in the past or the other lifetimes.
Speak of the devil, she actually just tried to call me. So
She does
well,
that. She does that every time.
well, it's wonderful that you've evolved your relationship and you're aware what the obstacles. So let's address these fears. So at some lifetime or before you came in, there is what we call an imprint. Now, in the current lifetime, most imprints happen from the age of 1 and 7, sometimes extended to the age of 13. The reason of that age group is because babies and then later on children start with delta, go to theta, and have alpha brain waves. They do not have conscious brain waves, which means they get programmed. So you carry that imprint on you, as we said, either from this lifetime or another lifetime. But if you're feeling it in this lifetime, it means there was a trigger in this lifetime as well. And it's here for you to heal it and let it go. So the
And I
fact
think
that
that's
you are
why,
aware is superb.
well, it makes me wonder if that's why I'm like so focused on trying to fight for this lifetime for us to be together, is because this is interesting because like I did some like, I wanted to see what my prior life was, and hopefully his ex doesn't listen to this episode. We can cut this part out, honey, but
no, it's
it
fine. She
basically
doesn't
means
listen, for as far as I know.
good. So what I'm thinking is that because I told Stein a dream I had, and I basically was supposed to be his ex's twin. And I absolutely like this is what is interesting is like I absolutely refused. And I know before my mom was pregnant with me, was supposed to be into another life and I was supposed to be someone's twin. But because I fought it so hard, and I don't know how I did it as an embryo, but I fought it so hard that I made that person miscarry me and his ex because I did not want to be in that lifetime with her so close. And I fought it and I came over to the States rather than being over in Europe again.
Okay, so let me offer you a different perspective to make your relationship better. We discussed it before we started. All
Mm-hmm.
parallel lifetimes and incarnations exist in the now. So if you have a desire And tell me if I pronounce your name correctly. Stin is your first name?
Stein.
Stein. Sorry, I apologize. So
Okay.
you want to be with Stein. There's a
Mhm.
parallel lifetime existing right now that you have the perfect relationship with them. So I'm going to give you the concepts of what you need to weed out, because if you focus on this other person, that's going to lock you in this timeline. So you are to align to the perfect timeline where Stein and you are perfectly together. So let me
Mhm.
address the double slit experiment, the first one, and I'll do it very quickly. I got the Nobel Prize. I don't remember the year. The bottom line is they do two slits. If they use little balls and particles and they shoot between the two slits, you're going to get two lines in the back. Very clear, very simple. That's what matter is. But they decided to get a laser gun and do photonic light. So there's two slits trying to shine the light between the two slits. Behind the slit is a white wall. You would assume that there's going to be two lines, but it's not. What happens is the wave function. So there's multiple lines, which is infinite possibilities. What does the Bible say? In my house are many mansions. In my house are many realities. So when you don't observe, and who are you? You are consciousness. You are photonic light. So when you don't narrow your focus on a belief, a limiting belief about a story about which may be true, then you're going to get infinite possibilities. You have the possibility that you want. There's a perfect reality. You and your partner are fully happy right here, right now. The moment you observe, you can put a camera, you can put a cat, you can put a dog, immediately you get the two lines, which means you collapse the wave function. So what does a belief does? It narrows and collapses our reality to the limiting reality. So if this person in this other timeline, you're having the perfect relationship with your partner, she doesn't exist. So in order to get there, you need to remove your attention. And I'm going to read a quote from Neville Goddard that I happen to have right in front of me. If you assume your desire and live there as though it were true, no power on earth can stop it from becoming a fact. It is not what you want to attract, you attract, what you believe to be true. Disregard appearances, conditions, in fact, all evidence of the senses that deny the fulfillment of your desire. So in that new reality, what you need to know is how would you think, how would you feel, and how would you act? Think, feel, act with your partner, which I'm sure is a high vibration and everything is perfect. And that's how you change your TV channel from the limiting reality you are to this perfect reality. And to be quite honest, I did that in my life. There's a woman, actually, I can't remember her name. She actually jumped complete timeline and reconnected with this person, and he was a different personality, but the same person who had ditched her, and she's married to him now for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
By doing this principle. So she did not feel, and the statement before he dumped her, he was a musician, is I do not like blondes. I don't want to be with you. And she was devastated. So she studied parallel timelines. She teaches a little course, and she is currently married to this person, happily married. And she had the ability to go into timelines and see the timelines. And then she chose the timeline where he was not involved with this other woman that he chose to be.
Oh,
That's blowing my mind right now.
no, but that makes sense actually. And honey, like that's what I've been telling you as well. Like don't focus on her, you know, don't try and focus, or not as much, at least on, you know, what she does, on what she has done or whatever. Like it, yeah, it's a sore spot for, you know, the both of us. And I mean, it'll be a painful scar for, you know, for a while, but and that's why I also rather not, you know, talk or even gossip or whatever. I mean, it's our favorite, you know, topic of gossip, because there's just so much to tell. Everyone has that ex that you're just like, ooh, I got some tea. Um,
I have one of those.
oh, honey, we all do.
We,
But that the jumping of timelines, um, like my mind, and I'm sure most of the audience and most of the people, you know, maybe listening for the first time, if so, welcome. Um, goes to the Mandela effect, like where so many things are not what we remember them to be. And there are multiple theories about that. Like we actually, you know, jumped timelines in like a major way, that we actually jumped like not just timelines, but to a like a different reality, like a mirror reality,
Mhm.
will. Some people say that it's actually, you know, it's more the more conspiracy minded people, but who say that, oh, it's like actually major corporations like gaslighting us and lying to us, and people are trying to get to the bottom of it. What's your opinion?
Okay, Philip K. Dick, who wrote a lot of these movies about timeline, he talks about, he gave a rare lecture. He came from another reality where it was worse than ours. So I have a little different version of the Mandela effect. It's the merging of two timelines. So some people was remembered certain things the same way because it was when the realities are very close and not many major changes, and there's no benefit to evolution to hold two separate timelines, they merge together. So they remember certain things that way, and the other people remember certain things another way. And both of them are accurate because, based on their experience, that is what they experience. So it's the merging of two timelines. Now, there is a jumping of timeline. So I'm going to give an example of a client that I'm working. She goes in and out of timelines because it's very difficult for her to maintain one. So she has an interaction with her partner, and it's very unpleasant, very nasty. And when she works and she lets go, and how do we change the timelines? By thinking, acting, and feeling differently. When she lets go of the limiting beliefs, but mostly the emotion, I said earlier, it's the emotion that holds the story. So when she shifts into the other timeline, this partner is a sweetheart and he doesn't even remember arguments they had. So he's a completely different person because there's a parallel person. When you're working on yourself, there's a parallel you that's better. I'll give you the example. When I healed, I did not heal me.
Mhm.
That me is still somewhere going on sick. I moved to a parallel version of me that had different ideas, higher vibration. I occupied, because what is the body? The body is a projection of the mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and your deeds. That's what the body is. It's the avatar being projected based on your thoughts, emotions, and deeds. So when the body is not angry, which is what I was, and fearful, which is what I was, and all this other stuff that I didn't believe healing was possible, and that version still exists, but I'm not experienced, I moved to another reality where the body is healthy. And that explains instantaneous healings. When people instantaneously heal, they move to a parallel version of them. But
Oh,
Shar
I wonder
teaches
if I
that
can.
too.
I wonder if I could do this with myself.
I
Of
mean,
course you can.
Because I have so much crap going on right now. It's not even funny. It's like one thing after another, after another, after another.
I mean, these are teachings that um like are sometimes hidden in popular media, because I can remember one episode from the Comedy Central show American Dad. Um, like all about like CIA, FBI, like he was a I believe like an FBI agent or whatever. And one of the people that he worked with, I mean, like this is just a cartoon, but I think like the situation was interesting. Just this, this big buff guy and whatever, and is asking him like, guess how much time I spent in the gym, like guess how much I lived. Like, none at all. I willed this body into being. And like what you're like telling us right now, that's that's it. Like if your mind, if your spirit is strong enough, like you can will it into being, or like you can jump or cross over to a timeline where your body is already that way, since the
Correct.
body is just,
Correct.
a vessel.
Yeah, well, the multiverse, many realities theories says that that's what we're living. I'm not saying it. That's what quantum physics says.
Yeah.
Uh, and they're basically saying, remember, the first double slit experiment told us there's infinite possibilities. That's why you have the multiple lines. And the Bible has been altered, but there is some truth in it, bits and pieces in there. So the Bible tells us, in my house are many mansions. Now let's address the second experiment that most people don't know. And that one got the Nobel Prize. And I'm going to do the best of my ability. It may not be perfect on my explanation, but the gist. So they concocted this very challenging experiment because we know that when we observe the experiment, we collapse it to two lines, which means we collapse it and narrow it to that one reality. So they used what they call entangled particles. So when an entangled particle is a particle that came from the same particle, and so when one has a certain spin, the other one has the same spin. So when one thing does one thing, we know what the other one does. So they created this weird experiment with 4 sets of mirrors to see how the particle went. So I'm just going to do my best. So the particle went wave, infinite possibilities, went to the second mirror, infinite possibilities, went to the third mirror, infinite possibilities. And the only reason they know what it did, and it was recorded, is because they got it from the entangled particle and they deleted the observation data. And so there was no observer, and it's pretty complicated, but they know it went wave, wave, wave. So on the fourth mirror, they made a decision they're going to observe. It went back in time, and it was particle, 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 particle. So in the now, it went back in time and rewrote the existing history. So when is time created? There is no past, there is no future. Creation is in the now. So your observation in the now is updating all your memories in the brain. And that is what's happening. And this experiment got the Nobel Prize as well. So it pretty much tells us reality is what we make it, and our mind is so powerful that we can create anything you want. So when you're observing when a planet is away, you're actually measuring it in the now. Everything is measured in the now, and creation, the Bible tells us, is in the now. Everything is done in the present moment. There is no past, there is no future. It's our carrying of the past that we project into the future. And now we're using the past to create a predictable future, which is why certain manifestation says just focus moment by moment by moment. Be in joy, 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 joy. So you're creating new nows, new nows, new nows. And if they're high vibration, those new nows are shifting you to higher vibrational parallel timelines without an old story.
So you create your own reality and you create it as you're living it. Does that also mean, because like that kind of makes me like think of like video games, for example, where the rest of the game still has to load in as you're progressing through the level. Like is that similar to what is happening? Like can I only like perceive things because I know that they're there, or like that?
So let's address that. And you're pretty correct. Before you came into this lifetime, you watched your whole video game or your movie. You saw it, you forgot. And you forget in order to make it more real. But the movie is preloaded wherever your computer is, right? So when you play a video, and I've never played a video game, but you only see in front of you the now. There might be things in aspect. The only difference is the whole game is already preloaded. We have free will.
Mm-hmm.
So you have free will how you're going to play the game only when you have woken up that you're both the director, script writer, and the experiencer of the movie. When you do not know that, you are experiencing the game as a preloaded game and you have very limited choices. So once you have had what they call start waking up to who you are, and you already are, because we wouldn't be having this conversation, you can make some changes. It's like you changing the code on your video game and saying, you know what? I've played this game before and I don't want this to be that. I'm going to change this thing or this obstacle to be something different. That is when you've reached mastery. And now you can leave the 3D game and go to the game, which is the 5D you're creating as you're going along. And we right now are in both worlds. We are experiencing part of the 3D, seeing what the other people are experiencing, and waking up to the 5D and trying to master our skills so we can set our own experiences.
Yeah. I mean, this makes a lot of sense and explains a whole lot, especially in combination with your explanation of the Mandela theory, because I have said often on the podcast and to like coworkers and friends or family that it seems so often that so many people are living in two like distinctly different worlds, and I don't want to necessarily classify them as like those still asleep and those woken up. Like I'm not a big fan of that terminology, because that would make it sound like the other party is like inferior or something. But like definitely two different worlds, and in my experience it's the people who have some sort of a belief or a religion or a spirituality, or are just able to question what they see, to question the reality that is presented to them. Like those are the ones that actually see. And like a lot of the people who like their life is okay as it is. Like they don't need to change anything. Like the system works for them, and like they seem to live in a vastly different world. Like those are like the stop oil protesters and like those kind of people, which is a death cult, really. Um, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it explains a lot why like especially the like you said, the merging of the timelines, because it definitely seems that so many people believe the one thing to be true while the other group of people is like equally convinced that it's not, and that their version of the truth is the ultimate truth. So to say that both are absolute truth because of a merging, that makes a whole lot more sense than we just, jump timelines into another, because that would create, I believe, or I think, like a too massive of a shift if like literally billions or like hundreds of millions of people like shift into like the same timeline all at once, then a merging makes a lot more sense.
Your frequency is merging. So so consciousness decided to know itself, right? And
Yeah.
created each one of us to have that experience. So consciousness is there to maximize and learn. It's about evolution, not de-evolution. So timelines that are not efficient, just like a computer, we upgrade them or we delete them. The same way when you upgrade a program, you upgraded, you did a patch or you did something, and now you have a better version, but before it was doing something else. So when it doesn't need a timeline and almost everything parameters are the same, it's going to merge it. A great movie. I want to give some movies so people can start grasping, because I spoke about going in and out of timelines. Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow, a very old movie. She's going in and out of two realities. So she has the boyfriend who cheated, and I can't remember what the other story is. She goes in and out of both realities. That's what we do in the beginning when we're trying to navigate realities. There's a wonderful movie, which is a little challenging to watch. I've watched it 4 times, The 13th Floor, explaining what our reality is. And there
13th
is
floor, you
the
said?
13th floor.
I'm definitely writing down these movies. Like my whole family's
Yeah.
movie freaks. So
And for you, since you're a police somewhere in law enforcement,
local law
there is
enforcement, yeah.
frequency. So watch frequency, where in one reality, Dennis Quaid is dead, yet his son loves him so much, he meets up with him in a timeline he's alive. Because you
Oh,
asked me about your relationship, right? So in order for the relationship to improve, you have to jump into another timeline. So the son refused to accept
yeah.
that his father was dead, and the timeline merges. He doesn't go back in time and find him. He finds now an older version of the dad, and they meet up. So there's
Oh,
no
that
such thing as fiction, right? Everything has some truth.
that one hits close to home already, because I'm I'm trying to be open about this, but I lost my younger brother last March. No, not last March, but March of last year. Lost him at 27 years old.
It's hard.
Yeah. He, well, let's just say in your terms, he wasn't able to jump to the healthy timeline. He unfortunately succumbed to the things that were plaguing him. Um,
Sorry to hear that.
so
It's very hard. Very
it
hard.
it is. So like I know already if I'm gonna watch Frequency, it sounds like a
I'll have to watch it with you,
brilliant.
honey.
Thank you. It sounds like a brilliant movie. Dennis Quaid really is he's a great actor, absolutely. But it sounds like it's going to be very, very close and
Yes.
a difficult watch. But I'll give it a shot.
It's going to be very helpful, and it was happened to have a friend fireman. They did it at Firehouse 43, which I did not know, and I knew all the firemen there. It's a very well done movie. I highly recommend it. Forget the story, watch how he jumps the timeline.
Yeah.
And another movie we spoke about remembering and not remembering. So I think we're all equal because we all are created from source. We're just different levels of the game or the experience, I should say. So there's a nice movie called, I think it's called Happy Guy, where he wakes up and wants to change his reality. It's very interesting. I think it's called Happy Guy. Um, and I like to use movies to start understanding timelines. And there's an old movie, is it Lost in Time? The guy who had the accident that became paralyzed, I can't remember. Um, the one who played Superman or Batman, he did a very old movie. And he went back in time. Very interesting. The name will come to me before. Uh,
That's
uh,
definitely sounds like an interesting movie. There are a couple of movies like that, which makes
There
me
was a Sandra Bullock movie too that she jumped timelines to be with the person that she wanted to be with.
oh the one with Keanu Reeves. You mean?
Yeah, I can't think of the movie now.
Yeah. Oh,
oh yes, there's yeah. So I think the movie is called. I'm not sure it's called Free Guy.
Hold
Uh,
on, let me look it up because I can look it up real quick.
honey, I know which movie you mean, which is so interesting because they like in the movie, don't they communicate through like mail, like actual like physical letters or
yes,
something?
yes, yes, yes. That is and then yes, the Keanu Reeves,
I
uh,
haven't seen that one yet,
The
but
Lake House. The
the
Lake
Lake
House.
House, that was
the
it.
Lake
That
House.
was it. Yeah. Okay, right. Definitely noting that down because I have to watch that one now. Oh God.
So movies are a great way for us to grasp because it's very hard to understand the concept of timeline. It's very hard for us to remember or
Would you recommend then the Marvel movie that they did with the new Doctor Strange one, where he's
oh, that
jumping
was
through
a very
portals?
good, yes, that was very good. There was a lot of truth on some of the timelines there. See, I think those movies are not fiction. There's no such thing as fiction. I'm going to give you a perfect example. There was a movie, I'm a big fan of Neville Goddard, who was a mystic. Prior to the Titanic going down, there is a book. He makes a reference to the book. And it's a boat that's brand new, luxury, and it sinks.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
I remember that book.
I
It was
don't
like it had the title of the ship down to a
know.
T.
Wasn't the ship wasn't named the Titanic. I believe it was just called the Titan
So
or
it's
something.
correct, something like that. So a lot of times there's what they call predictive programming. They put movies in our consciousness so we experience. So we have to be very careful watching movies that are low
Mm.
frequency and they program us. But there is a lot of truth. The Matrix is a perfect
It
example.
was called Futility that saw the disaster.
Oh,
It
okay.
was the wreck of the Titan tells the story of a fictional ship whose sinking bears similarities with real life events in 1912. So it happened in 1898.
Excellent. So you hit it right there. So I found the movie. It's called Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve, and he goes back in time.
Oh, Christopher Reeves. He played Superman. He
Yes,
and is indeed a quadriplegic.
yes, and he passed
He
away.
passed away, huh?
Yes, he passed away. But
He was a quadriplegic.
yes, he was absolutely. So a lot of these movies are helpful for us to just put our knowledge in it, because we're moving. I don't know if you've noticed, but time seems to be speeding up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because
Definitely.
eventually we're going to enter 5D where everything is instantaneous, because that's where we came from. That's what is our original. We have a thought. It's based on the 7 Kybalion principles. The universe is mental, and it's right there, right in front of you. And I'm sure you've had experience. You're thinking of someone, and all of a sudden, the phone call just shows up.
It does seem to happen more often, indeed.
Especially with when your ex calls. It's like me and you say something and it's like she's right
Well,
there.
I mean, yeah, and with other things as well, like just smaller synchronicities that in the grand scheme of things are, like might as well be a coincidence, but they're so incredibly specific to that, it's not a coincidence anymore. I don't know exactly how to describe it. I don't know any specific situations, but just like very minor things that you're like, okay, on everything and anything that like could have happened, like this particular thing, that's way too specific to be like mere coincidence. And yeah, especially if if you're on a higher vibration, or at the very least try to raise your vibration, it does seem to happen more often. I mean, Firefay and I, like, we do it for fun sometimes. We'll just like kind of jest with each other and just kind of like point our thoughts to the universe and just ask, like, are you, like, you sure that we're meant to be, like, is this really it? And then, like, sometimes almost immediately, like, we'll get a sign like, yes, this is how it's supposed to be, you can stop asking.
That reminds me of the one that I had at work with
Oh,
everything, with the people who came in from the Netherlands, and it was literally on our
yeah,
anniversary.
yeah,
That like
the one
blew
that
my
you mentioned
mind.
yesterday with mom and dad. Yeah, that was great. That was so freaking.
That was like mind blowing. It was just like the sheer fact that I was just like, are you sure? Is he really thinking about me? And like this couple and their daughter came in, and everything that they said that they did at the airport in the Netherlands was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, so they were there, like, they honey, just to be
They
clear, they
were
were
in the
there at the
stores that you
same
were,
time as I was.
they were in the stores that you were showing me at the time. And then
Yeah.
the parking spot that you were standing in was the one that they were going to park into, but didn't because someone was standing there. It's like, oh my
which
God.
which might have been me. So I crossed those people multiple times, and eventually they came into Panera, where you worked at the time.
Yeah, but we're gonna bleep that one out. But yeah,
Oh, that's
that
fine.
was just that was mind blowing to me because it was just like, I was like, is he really thinking about me? Is this really meant to be? And then next thing I know, my number of people, because like my number is 3, has always been factors of 3 all the time. And they came in and it was 2 people. And what was blowing my mind even more was the daughter may or may not work with somebody that's in his family.
Yeah, or like at least shares the same last name. So no direct family, but another
But we don't
branch.
know. We don't know for
Well,
sure.
probably most likely another branch of the family tree, like not the branch that I'm a part of, but definitely, same tree, different branch. So like a whole lot of synchronicities, like lining up all at once. And then like we have the small
All
ones.
the time too.
Those big ones absolutely blow our minds, and it's so Like we get so
Well, and
good
then
afterwards as
the
well.
one that really was interesting to me is I swear up and down, and his parents don't remember, neither does his sister. But the one that really blows my mind is I was up in Denver. We'll clear this one out, but I was up in Denver and I swear to you, I met your sister, I met your mom, I met your brother, I met dad, I met everybody. I met everybody.
Yeah, and the
And
thing
I
is, I
swear about
was
it.
supposed to be with them on that holiday because like, of course, I was invited to come, but I was with my now ex and mother of my children. So the one who, in many, well, previous lives, previous forms, kept me away from her, kept me away this time as well. So
But
it's
we broke free of that. But it's interesting because I swear I met his family before I met him. And his family is like, I don't know for sure.
I mean, honey, like we're from the Netherlands, you know, in Denver, that's a major city, like for
But I'm just
especially,
saying it's interesting that I swear up and down that our families have met
and
and your
I'm
family
sure
doesn't
you have.
remember.
I'm sure you have. Like even before that, like yesterday, we kind of looked into the genealogy of my part of the family, and even going back to like the 1800s, there is a very, very large chance that our families have interacted. Um, so like through
Mhm.
many times and timelines and like you name it, we have been connected and close to each other in so many ways.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought that synchronicity was.
No, honey, that's fine.
It's right in line with what we're talking, so no worries. So um, I gave you the wrong title. I think it's Free Guy, the movie, not Happy Guy. It's Free Guy.
Okay.
So yeah, watch that one. He's in a video game, or and it'll make a lot of sense. So ultimately, what we want, right? All of us want to have more control over our lives and be happy. That's really what we all want. We want to be happy. We don't want anymore to be in fear and be in someone else's reality, which is what has happened to us through all the programming, all the wars out there, all what we were supposed to do was someone else's reality plastered on us. And now we're breaking free. And the way we break free, because every time we've had low or traumatic experiences, is that an emotion there. Once we master and let go of that emotion, we're going to let go of the stories. Perfect example, and it's unfortunate, it's sad because it was going to be my life with your brother. um, I literally, for 14 years, believed the medical system and I wasn't getting any better. I literally believed it was a non healable condition. I fell prey to that. And because of my background, having been trained in medicine, I could not let go of that belief. It took a lot of hard work for me because I have a degree in epidemiology. And I said, well, my degree says so. How can I? And I looked up all the clinical trials. So it's very challenging for us, but it is possible for all of us. I don't care who you are, what skin color you are, how educated you are. It's possible for all of us to change. Actually, it's harder for the analytical people to change. It's easier for the people who are more open and are more joyful and don't have knowledge. People who have no preconceived ideas do much better than the educated ones.
So ignorance truly is bliss.
Sometimes it can be bliss. That's correct. It is. So we can now create what we want. So we know what has happened to us. Dwelling on it is not going to help us, right? Because it's only going to collapse that wave function to a narrow reality. So we know what the agenda was, we know what the story is. Now we need to shift our focus. Where do we want to go? And our job is moment, not easy, but it can be done moment by moment. What is it that I want to feel? How do I want to act? Who do I want to be? What is it that I want to experience? Moment by moment, crystallize that new reality, and you will forget this old reality. Eventually, it's actually going to be wiped out from your memory. And I'm saying that as a fact. I had a very challenging upbringing.
Mhm.
And because I've healed some of the memories, they're being wiped out. Slowly, they're being wiped out. I say to myself, you know what? I actually don't even want to have that story anymore. I don't want to have the hero's story that I struggled so hard. How about make a better, easier story where I had fun and I had joy? Which brings me to the last component that I teach. Where are memories created? Between two neurons. That's where they're held. So when we fire and wire and replay the same memory, what fires together, wires together, we hardwire that path. And when we're traumatized, unfortunately, the brain wants us to relive that experience, and it makes it really bad for us.
Mm.
So we want to prune that connection, stop going there. And in EFT, we never, ever, ever have the person re-experience the trauma. All we ask them from a distance is what is their feeling and what is their belief. We work on that aspect. So when you prune that connection, it's like a path in the woods that no one's been walking anymore and it's been raining. That groove, that footpath disappears. And then we use a principle that's in the Bible and in modern terms. So in the Bible, it's called revision, which Neville Goddard was very famous about. He has a lecture called The Pruning Shears of Revision. And there is the story of the potter's house and the unjust steward. So the unjust steward is about to be fired because he couldn't collect the money, or I don't know, something like that. And he rewrote the story in his mind, came up with a solution, and his boss does not fire him, and the issue is resolved. So he came up by rewriting, replaying the new story. In the potter's house, he has created a clay out of pot that's very not to his liking. So what do we usually do? We discard it, but the potter did not discard it, took back the clay. Remember, we said energy can never be created or destroyed. He took back the clay and remolded it to his liking. So what do we do once we clear the traumatic experience? We take that energy and we replay and rewrite a new memory with more empowering story that suits us. And if we keep on wiring and wiring that, now we have a new memory and the old one of the trauma got pruned.
So then how about, I know like these are very rare cases, but the people suffering from multi-personality disorder or something along the same lines, because like usually that is through traumatic events that they had to create a new self, that they had to create a new being, which didn't go through that trauma, but um, by doing that, they don't heal the trauma. They just like mask it or like
Yes.
paste something else or someone
It's,
else even over it.
I have limited understanding, but my best concept of it, they've been so traumatized, and in order to cope, they have to create multiple personalities for coping mechanism. And it's very interesting when they enter one personality, sometimes they even have physical illness in one of them versus on another personality they don't. But once they start, so the brain has become compartmentalized instead of being whole. Once they go back and heal that fragmented consciousness, it's like having 2 or 3 software programs running on one computer, like you have one drive and you have Linux drive running and Windows on another one, and there is no cohesiveness and the computer is erratic. So the only way that can happen, and there are a few people who escaped DARPA who had multiple personalities, and they did that unfortunately, and I feel sad for them because of a lot of trauma. By healing the trauma, they eventually can align and become whole. Remember, wholeness is not just being whole, but it's one piece. You're gathering all your energy, all your consciousness back to us. The same thing with the parallel timelines. Even though we're not so traumatized, we're bringing back those pieces, we're loving back those pieces, and we're integrating it back into this one body, because all the planets, the universe, and all the reality is inside of here. There's nothing out there, really. I mean, that's all the teachings they say. There's nothing out, everything is in here. So when we heal all those parts, we become whole again. And what is God? Everything and everything, omnipotent, all love, all creation, all that ever is and will ever be. Different variations. It's wholeness.
Yeah. No, like I do like that idea, and I think that complications like multi-personality disorder, like we were talking about movies just now, and like one of my favorite movies, the one that I very often go to when I don't know what to watch, is Split, about a man
I
with,
can't get into that one.
sorry?
I can't get into that one. I've
It's
tried.
it's quite, it's dark. It's quite dark, but the I mean, it's still a movie, although like incredibly acted, like I actually believe it. Um, but like the subtle shifts between the personalities are amazing, and like, or even just the major differences between the one personality and
James
the other.
McAvoy
And
is amazing in that though.
I know that like in the outside world, not on the big screen, or small screen, like I know that is the case too. Like even with like as you said, like physical ailments. Like for example, one of the personalities is blind, and if you were to test that that person at that moment, they would actually physically be blind. But then when they shift into another personality, that blindness goes away because that personality is not blind. Like they're just able to see, and like that's also just a true statement to the power of the mind and the power of the body, but used in, I'd say, like an uncontrollable manner through trauma. Like it is still the diamond, the faceted diamond, um, but more like a black diamond, just very through trauma, faceted through trauma, not through light. But it is another testament to just the power of the human mind and the power of the human body.
Yes. There's an experiment in the book, The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, I think was his last name. He's no longer here, but it's a great book. A hypnotist took a man, and he hypnotized that he could not see his daughter. So they got him out of hypnosis. The daughter was in front of him, and he physically could not see his daughter. It was literally blocked out of his awareness. And he could see the chair that was in front of him, but he could not feel and sense his daughter, who was right there, she was talking. And of course, they got him out of hypnosis, and then he was able to see his daughter. It's in the experiment that was done in the book. It's an interesting book. It has a lot of science. And Richard Feinstein, I think he was a quantum physicist, got a Nobel Prize too, that he basically proved you can go backward and forward in time at will. So the particle, he talked about the proton that can go forwards and backwards in time. So we can occupy anytime we choose to occupy. If we can let go our belief that this timeline is the best timeline and real for us, it's hard for the mind to grasp, but it's really very interesting.
Oh man, I should tell my son that, you know, he's a, you know, 6 year old, 6 years old, big fan of Spider-Man, big fan of Batman, as 6 year olds are. I should tell him that if you just believe it hard enough, you can actually be Spider-Man. He's gonna go nuts.
Don't say that. Then he's gonna take it literal and fly off the couch and break his arm.
Oh no, I mean, well, he's a klutz like I am, so that would happen.
We don't need your ex to hate you even more,
I
hon.
mean,
So just
but
wait till he's a little bit older so then he can grasp the concepts.
but then again, like how cool would it be to, you know, like see mini me, he truly is a mini me, like swinging on webs through the neighborhood. I mean, he's gonna have the time of his life.
Yes, but honey, he's still too young. Wait till he can actually grasp.
No, but like that's just the thing. He is still young. He still has
He's
that
still,
childlike imagination.
I
So if I
know, but we don't need him to fly off the couch
honey,
and
he
break his
does
arm or
anyway, with or
something.
without a web. Like he's like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Like he bounces up and down all throughout the house. So
Like you.
yeah, I mean that's why I say that, you know, he's a mini me. He is.
empowering
I
beliefs are
should have.
very good at a young age, that he can put his mind to do something. He's because after he starts 7, moves to 7, the conscious mind will come in. There's a lot of people who were psychic when they were young, and it was shut down to only find out they had to struggle to activate those activities, but now they're famous psychics, right? There's a
That
lot.
was me. That was me. Sorry.
Yeah, perfect. So it's very good to encourage with caution. I wouldn't recommend he goes and jumps off the building. That I don't suggest. But to start practicing with his imagination what he can do, that would be excellent, and never be in limitation that he can't achieve what he wants. So I think those principles are going to create a more evolved soul, and all the new children coming in, and your son is a new version. There are an upgrade of what we were. There are more
And
there.
that's how it is with my kiddo too. He's very in touch. Like our oldest, he's very in touch with his sensitive side.
Yeah.
He can tell me and he'll come in here and say, Mom, do you know what one of the animals is thinking or feeling right now? And it's just like, no, tell me. And then he'll tell you. I mean, he's even done it with Stein's cats, where it's like, Mom, you know what Timmy or Celine is feeling? And it's like, no, what? And the next thing I know, Stein goes home and Timmy's made an accident.
Hmm.
So it blows my mind that I'm still letting him be in touch with it, even at his age.
He's a true Dr. Doolittle.
That's
Oh, yeah.
excellent. So pretty much I feel all of us can have a better future. That's really, I think, the message I want to have for your audience. And no one's excluded, no one's less or superior. And if we can get to release that trauma that we had, because most of us in the old reality that we're coming from, the 3D, it was all about fear, all about trauma, all about anger, all about these low frequencies. And we got programmed. Turn on the news, that's all you see. I gave myself a gift. It took me a while to grasp it. I have not watched any news, any alternative media, nothing. And my energy and frequency has shifted. It's not part of my reality. I don't know what's happening out there. If it's meant for me to know, the universe somehow will notify me.
I think that is definitely one of the best starting points to like literally turn off the news.
Mhm.
I think that's just the easiest number one thing that you should do. You know, turn off the news, turn off the people that, you know, tell you what to think, how to think, what's happening in the world according to someone who like wrote about it behind a desk and like probably like 8, 9 out of 10 times has never even been there, has, you know, probably has talked to some of those people, but put his own spin on it, put his own opinion in there. Because news, one way or the other, whether it be, you know, more the mainstream news or the alternative news, it's biased. It's biased. There is no such thing as unbiased news. The only unbiased news is the news that, I don't know, like you experience yourself, or maybe even that's biased because of
That's
your
still biased.
experience.
It's
Yeah.
my experience. So even if I was at an event, it is still biased. So just being in neutrality is best, and not also watching some of the social media judgment or bullying, because now there's another thing. They get hooked on this social media and they go crazy. Now, if it's an uplifting, positive message, then that's different. That is great. You get a social media alert. That is wonderful. But this bullying, or what this actor did, what did they wear, what did they happen, or what did they say, and then the back and forth, we're being ping ponged in duality. This is right, this is wrong, vice versa. And when two areas of your mind or two different realities are taking place and they're constantly at war, your resources are gone. And then what's left? Both countries, if let's say it's war for a country, but even on consciousness, both energies have been extinguished. There's not a possibility for peace. The key here is to disinvest from this one or that one, whatever it is, and then pull back your energy because it's your own energy, and now create peace. I'm okay with what I'm seeing as long as it's not comes up inside my house. It can go out there, and then eventually you put more distance, and then it's happening there, and it's not near your home. And at some point, I am telling you, I don't know the timeline when, but you will no longer be seeing that reality. It's going to fall off because you're not going to be a vibrational match to it. There's no strings, no attachment to it. So you won't be seeing any more of the crazy stories because you moved on.
And we can all just try our best to get to there, to manifest that timeline, to manifest that reality, because that sounds a reality, like a reality that I would much prefer, actually, you know, to not have to hear or see or read about all that. Because I mean, I like turned off my TV, or like at least like cut the cable years ago. Like I just do like either some video platform like Netflix, for example, or the online video platform such as YouTube, but that's so that I can choose what I'm watching, and also because I just got sick of reruns and like advertisement blocks every 15 minutes. Um, and that's definitely one of the better decisions that I have made, because it allowed me to like pick my own sources and watch what I want to watch what I think is interesting or beneficial to me. And if I don't like it, I can just, you know, click away. I don't have to like zap or wait for the program to be over so that hopefully maybe the next one is, more entertaining or better. I can just like, okay, nope, next, not this one, maybe next one, we'll see. So, yeah.
Let me reframe that for you. You already made the decision to have a better reality, which is why you have the show. That's number one. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
True.
Number two, you made a decision to cut off cable because you don't want to be living in someone else's reality.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already done the conscious steps to get where you want. Now it's a matter of time. It's not that you won't get there, it's only a matter of time when you get there. So the more you practice your skill sets, it's a guarantee you're going to get there, because if you were meant to stay in the other reality, we wouldn't be talking and you would be not having this show. You've already made the turn for the better reality. You've already done that.
Now it's just a matter of getting there.
You
Huh.
got
I like that.
Well, it's the truth.
I'm gonna,
How whether
yeah,
you
no,
like it,
I
it's
mean,
the
yeah.
truth.
I mean, I've said that on how many shows have I said that? I think like pretty much every that.
Almost on every episode, you want to make the best reality.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And that like in my, geez, what is it, 4 years of podcasting?
Even on our Substack that we're doing a manifestation journey,
Yeah,
we're trying to
that
get
too.
me to get over there rather than stay here.
Yeah. And in my 4 years of podcasting, I have learned more about the world, about the mind, about the human being, about like whatever religion or spiritual belief may be out there than I have ever um than I ever would have known. I've learned more in 4 years of doing this than in like 14 years of school. I mean, school's still been, beneficial. Like I know calculus, I know how to write, and maybe some basic math. So like as a base, it's been good. But everything else I learned either through the school of life, which has not always treated me well, or through podcasting and experiencing it and talking to amazing people such as yourself. I mean, you blew our minds right from the beginning. That's why I didn't want to wait and like do a full intro. I was like, okay, this is already like we're already on, and I'm just gonna go on. And whenever I have a moment, I'll do an intro because I don't want to interrupt this.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it too. And you're doing is the right thing for your soul evolution and for the betterment, because I'm not going to use the word awake, but whoever has started to remember, because it's all about remembering, has made a choice that they're going to be the forerunners to move and help the people, guide them to the new reality. And so you've made that choice before you came here, and now you're playing it out. And I was one of them, trying to guide people on being more whole. That's why I went into healthcare originally, but I went from the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And we are just encouraging the rest to wake up. I'm sorry,
That
we
makes me
not to use
wonder
the
if I
word wake up, to
that's
remember, to remember. I want to correct, and you can
Yeah.
edit, to remember.
that makes me wonder if that's why I was having those premonitions for so long, saying that we need to fight this and be together because you and I are meant to have, we're meant to have a bigger purpose, and that we're meant to be the ones that are guiding. And if we're not together, then we're not able to do it. We have a bigger mission in life.
I mean,
You're
Do you
correct.
remember that?
yeah, I do. And like we've just heard, um like we're already there. That destination is already there. It's just a matter of of getting there. It's a matter of time, and keep doing what we do because we're already on the path.
Correct. So you put it on your GPS. Let's put it differently. And I'm going to make a suggestion for Firefang. So you already have it on the GPS, right? So you want to go from Netherlands to Denver. Okay. So you can take the airplane with the scenic route to stop at every place, or you can go the direct one. You've already set your GPS where you're going. The key here is to narrow and focus your consciousness to go the direct route, because the scenic route with our old reality has a lot of challenges. 3D has a lot of challenges. So your GPS is set. Your job now is to try and say, let me get to Denver. And then later on, once I've fixed everything I want to Denver, I can go and take a scenic route to see how things are. But for right now, because I choose to be in a higher vibration, I choose to take the fastest route. The Concorde doesn't exist anymore, but as if taking the Concorde to go to the direct fastest route. My suggestion, and please do not take me the wrong way, it's coming from a loving place. We do not fight to fix our reality. We align and visualize what it would be like to be in the new reality. Because fighting is a lower frequency, is going to take you longer to get where you want. So you align on the higher vibration by setting your intention. We do not fight cancer. We heal our bodies. Fighting is a low frequency. So our wording has consciousness. And it would be more important to visualize the outcome versus when we remember from old timelines being warriors. Our rule of the games have changed. We can use our imagination now and our high vibration to shift. We are not bound to the rules of the old 3D game, because in the old 3D game, we had to fight. That rule doesn't apply to us if we want to move faster. And it was just a suggestion.
It's funny you should say that because one of the oracle cards that I have is actually called the Golden Future Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, we're moving towards a new golden age, a time of peace, harmony, abundance, when everyone cooperates for the highest good. The Golden Future Oracle offers guidance to help you negotiate our current turbulent times, as well as preparing you for the cosmic energies that will shift the planet to a higher frequency. And it's actually a really interesting deck. So it's interesting you're saying that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it made sense. And this timeline, we don't need to have old contracts. Old contracts that were done can be cleared. So anyone who comes to me and says, well, I have a contract that I need to stay with this person, is no longer true. Remember, the rules for 3D were different than 5D. The 3D game was turned off 2012, but it's going to continue till its energy is drained out. So, but the game was agreed not to be renewed at 2012, when our consciousness rose high enough to enter our 5D game. And I believe it was 2020 when all of us, assuming you're in high vibration, go in and out of 5D. So there's no grid blocking us anymore for 5D. And all these things have changed by our rising of our consciousness. So if you had any old contracts, the old 3D game had certain rules, had certain agreements, you did matter to matter things. We don't have to do that anymore. We can burn our contracts. You can write, because what is the 5D game? I'm the director, the screenwriter, and the experiencer. I have my choice to do whatever it is I want moving forward.
I mean, we've broken a lot of old contracts already. And I'm just speaking for myself and Firefly right now because we already made changes. I mean, the things that she mentioned about previous lives, we've already broken those things. We've already, I mean, like
Yeah, because I
we
broke it
started,
when I refused to be your ex's twin.
yeah,
I
like
already broke it by saying no, and I caused what I did. And that's where it's like, I don't like, part of me's thinking, how in the heck, as an embryo, was I able to have that much power to say no?
I mean, that's like equating the um like physical being to power, but the power is not in the physical being.
It was your consciousness. First of all, you were never born and you will never die. That's part of the illusion, right? So you were
Oh,
consciousness. You were never born and you will never die.
I mean, there's
You're an
photographic
eternal
evidence
soul.
that I was born, but
Well, we have a story that we were born. You're an eternal human being. You always existed and you will always exist. There was never a time where you did not exist. And
oh,
there's
that's
not going to be a time when you will never exist.
oh shit, that's fascinating. I actually posted something the other day on Twitter. I still refuse to call it X. It'll always be Twitter. Um, that if you are alive today, then your bloodline, at the very least, your bloodline has been existence since the dawn of man,
so
or since the dawn of
you guys are
time,
gonna,
really.
this is blowing my mind really. Because then I have another deck. You know this one, honey, because I've shown you this one.
Mhm.
It's called Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle. Our ancestors have much to teach us about ourselves and our place in this life. This oracle deck is designed to help you connect with the spirits of your ancestors, the divine, and the harmonies present throughout the universe, featuring the 5 suits of ancestral figures, each corresponding to the elements of spirit, fire, water, and air, and earth. Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle is a perfect tool for those looking to deepen their spirituality and connect with the wisdom and experience of those who came before.
But I mean, we are our
I
ancestors.
know, but that's what's blowing my mind is it's like all these decks and everything that we've talked about, all my decks are just like in my third eye are just like glowing like hello.
Yeah, but that's because it's like this is the truth. This is what, well, everything is really. This is what we are. Like we are our ancestors. We share the same blood. We share the same features, even like outward features. We share the same energy. Like as I just said, like if you're alive today, then your bloodline, your genes, your genetics, if we just like go by the most basic physical stuff, has literally like lived since the beginning of time, even like from the one-celled organisms who at a certain point thought it was a good idea to start dividing. Like you can trace yourself back all the way to that. And if we like want to stay in like just human, that like the human territory, your blood has been alive for like literally millions of years.
And I was just
Because
thinking of like the Big Bang Theory too, that it just like banged into existence.
I mean, I'm still not completely sold on that one. Like there was nothing, that nothing exploded, then there was something. Just it doesn't add up. Um, but there are many theories to that. We should,
Consciousness existed, always existed.
yeah.
There was not, well, let me use the word awareness, because consciousness is awareness with choice. So awareness always existed. It became self-aware. So it saw itself in front of it and wanted to know, is there anything other than what I am, which was love, or what it exists, what its nature was, which was all knowing, all omnipotent, all all pure love, and all powerful. So when you ask the question in the realm of thought, is there any other than me? In a game or a simulation, you create all probabilities. The explosion that they refer is the start of the games, but you always existed. You always existed before that. There wasn't a time you never existed. You were always there.
Your energy has always been there. The,
Correct.
the laws of
So,
thermodynamics, again,
yes,
can be
yes,
destroyed or created only.
right. You can never be, yes,
Yeah.
energy can never be created. So the big is just the beginning of a particular game. It's playing the button on a computer and the creation of all realities. But you existed before that. So it's not that you didn't exist.
Man, I felt old already. Now I feel even older. Sheesh.
I guess it is true that I am a vampire.
Sheesh, you're a vampire, you're a fae, like what aren't you?
I know, what am I not? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm part of the star seed of the
Yeah.
Lyrans and another one. I mean, how many times does my soul have to just split?
I mean, well, split like learn like different experiences.
Correct.
And I think like as you said, that's the only way to truly become whole again, to experience everything. And
But it's
now
just
we're
like, how many
into,
times has my soul split, and how do I find out how to bring all of those pieces of my soul back?
well,
Okay.
Because it's like I'm Lyran, I'm Faye, I'm
no, but the thing is, if I mean,
all of it.
I do know a little about the like the Christos teachings. I used to watch a lot of teachings from Gigi Young. I've done some things with Micah Dank, who is into astrotheology. So but from what I remember that those teachings say is that the human experience, so to speak, is um, the last one because the human form is the um, most well adapted for um, what they would call salvation or illumination. That the human form is best adapted for that. Sophia, I don't know
Well,
your.
so I want to reframe that. So we've been everything. We've been everywhere. We've been everything. And you're correct, 100% correct. The purpose was to have every experience so divinity can get to know itself from every angle, every aspect. Remember, when you set out the question, if there's anything other than me, which is love, you're going to send out infinite possibilities and probabilities of different experiences. But asking how is going to put you back in the analytical mind. The key here is if you're experiencing something in the now, because you're multidimensional, you're not only being at this level with many lifetimes, you are at other experiences. All you need to do is collect the energy back. And we collect our energy back by bringing our emotion back to a high vibration. When we get lost that I was Lyran or I was Lemurian or whatever, these are labels which are different games as well. All the games are simulations, like video games. All of them are. Our job is just to collect back our energy. And when we do that, we will have higher awareness and higher choice. And then you consciously choose when you decide if you want to die, because eventually to leave this game, you will have to leave your avatar, where you want to go. So it is better to remember the labels, and the belief is going to hone you, just like the double slit experiment in the beginning, to our reality. We need to remember we're awareness. That's all we are. We're source energy awareness, and we are going back to becoming whole by forgiving all of these illusions here, because they actually never took place. It's just a dream. It's a dream state. It's a simulation. However you want. It's a holographic movie that we're watching.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yeah, the world is just a stage, right? So in order, what does the character do when he has to leave the stage? He has to forget he's that character. And so that means the human character, the Lemurian character, the whatever character. And yes, the most challenging one is on Earth. And your last lifetime on Earth is when you reach the state of Jesus. So the 12 apostles are states of consciousness. So when you start teaching and embodying these principles, you know this is your last lifetime on Earth, and you don't have to come back to this. And that's what, and it has to do with the 12 apostles are the 12 cranial nerves in the brain as well. And the 13th one is the last one. So everything is happening inside your brain.
Because that's also where the well, let's just call it the avatar of the Christ was crucified, Golgotha, the place of the
Correct.
skull.
You had it right. So Golgotha, it means skull. You hit it right on the place. And when you combine the two energies in the body, the Kundalini energy, and they combine into one, that's when you've ascended and mastered everything. And it takes place in the bridal chamber, I believe, in the brain. That is where all the illumination takes place. There's no movie out there. The movie is right here. The headset is right here. I'm sure if you've meditated, you have seen a black screen sometimes right in here in your
That's
forehead, which is your frontal lobe.
that's interesting that you mentioned like the energies next to it, because in the the story, at least, like I may be a heathen, but that doesn't mean that I don't know anything about other religions. He was crucified in between two others, in between two thieves, I believe.
You're correct. And I will address the two thieves. You can see it as the past and the future. And what are thieves? Someone who takes away from you. So it could be your limiting beliefs from the past and your future. And what did he also say? For whoever crucified him, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. So the key here is to go into present moment, to align the two energies, the Ida and the Pingala, In the Bible, it's called Cain and Abel. It's the same snake Kundalini energy. And what Moses has, a staff, is when the two energies meet together, then you've activated the spinal cord and you've become whole and you've become one.
Or in Freemasonry, the pillars of Joachim and Boaz, and then in between taking Jacob's ladder up to
Correct.
heaven, up to enlightenment. This is so fascinating. This ties in with so many
Yes.
different beliefs, spiritual streamings, religions. Like there is, I hear Buddhism in there. I hear Christianity in there. There are definitely
I can't
aspects
even think right now. Like my mind is completely blown right
like
now.
there are definitely aspects of paganism in there as well, especially North Germanic paganism. It's a lot about or like if we like the wisdom of Odin, a lot about self-sacrifice and having to like forgive and forget, like that is self-sacrifice. You have to sacrifice the bad habits in order to form good. You have to sacrifice the negative experiences that you're holding on to, with which you're creating the future in order to create a better now. So there, you could like say that there are even teachings of that in there, the golden apples of Idun with the golden youth, or with the eternal youth. There's snakes. Oh man, there's yeah. uh
You brought a key point. So the vertebra are 33, the 33 years of the teaching of Jesus, right? So you're
yeah.
climbing up your spinal cord. Who is Cain? Cain is the avatar. I can't. Who kills his brother, right? Abel. Abel is your spirit. I can.
Yeah.
I can do everything. So it's the merging of the avatar with your true self, who you truly are. And that's how you climb Jacob's ladder. And then you forgive everything, and you don't never forgive for the other person. You actually forgive for yourself because you realize this was a dream and this was experience, so you can have the experience of remembering that you are true love and true compassion. And that's when you've mastered the game, and now the doors of dimensions open to you.
Man, this is all so incredibly fascinating.
We
I
need
know
to
I
have her on again. We need to have like a series of this or something.
oh my, I'm gonna need to like just take a bit to like have this all settled. Like I still need to edit all of this and probably like rewatch and rehear like so much of it and then like come to new
Well, then we're
conclusions.
gonna have to have like a series of this, darling.
Well, I'm happy to be of service. As I said, we're fixing our world by talking to each other. We're healing each other. I am learning from you, and vice versa. Because who is the other person? It's just a projection of me. I'm in my own universe. That's where I'm at. Everybody in my movie is downloaded in my brain for my own experience, and vice versa. That applies for you, and that applies for Firefay. It's for our own awakening. It's a different angle. What's an angle? An angel is another angle of our photonic light. We are spirit, because this reality, the max of this reality is the speed of light. So before you come in, you're a photonic light.
Angels, angles, which you can tie again into Freemasonry if you want.
Absolutely.
And I just realized that it's so incredible that we're having this conversation on the 13th day of the seventh month. Like 13 and 7, like just two incredibly, like in whatever like religion or spiritual streaming you follow, like those are just fine numbers. Wow. I think we should leave it at this. Like my brain is fried in the best way. This is also absolutely amazing and ties into like everything that I have learned over the last, well, 4 years of, like, I learned the most by doing this podcast, and this ties so much together. Sophia, thank you so much for this. I'm gonna have to take the night off, and I'm very, very happy to have tomorrow off from work as well, because this is a lot. It's amazing, but it's a lot.
Well, I want to thank both of you. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. And it was a pleasure for me. And anybody who has questions, I'd like them to reach out to me and ask me some questions, because my goal is to help other people. And then hopefully we can go to our new reality, which I know is going to be a fact. It's just a matter of time. It's already in our GPS. But thank you. I enjoyed it as much as you did, and I hope you have a pleasant. So you are in the Netherlands right now, correct or no?
Yeah, I am currently in the Netherlands. Yes.
And Firefay, where are you?
I'm actually in the States,
Okay, so you're in the
and it's
States.
actually 1300 exactly right now.
Okay.
For you, yeah.
I know, but that's what's crazy
Yeah.
is it's literally 1300
13,
right now.
14, 7. Like, just get those numbers in there. It's not like I'm a big fan of numerology anyway. So
So
um
have a pleasant evening and a pleasant afternoon for one of you, wherever you are. And I want to thank you again, and hopefully we reconnect again.
yes, oh, we will absolutely.
We need to have like a series of this, hon.
Yeah, but let me untangle my brain first, okay?
Same. I'm gonna be going to work and I'm gonna be like, uh,
Oh, and Sophia, real quick, for the people who have questions, because there are going to be questions,
Sure.
where might those people find you? Where might they
Okay,
reach?
so they can go to the website tapintouryourbestself.com. I offer a 20-minute, sometimes 30-minute complimentary consultation. I have a lots of articles on my website. I write a blog, and I basically am a guide to help the person align to what they truly want. I focus a lot on healing as well. And so, and I offer EFT with Hacking Reality. And I also teach this neuroscience course, Change Your Mind, Create New Results, and it actually will change your life. Who I am today is because of these teachings. I was a very limited, rational, analytical, stubborn person.
You wouldn't say by the like close to 2 hour conversation that we just had. So the change is amazing and
Oh,
incredibly visible.
oh, thank you. And if you told me there was a timeline change or a timeline, I said, you need a straitjacket. But here I am, I teach timelines. Here it is. So this work has transformed me, and it was a gift in my life. And life is the gift. And I want to share that with everybody else, because we don't need to stay in the 3D game. That's shutting down. We're going elsewhere. We definitely are going elsewhere. And I can tell you that for a fact in this lifetime. So I'll see you the next time at a
Yes,
higher vibrational 5D game.
sounds like a good place. Sounds like a very, very lovely place. Honey, Miss Firefay, any final words, any final thoughts in the like what I know is a scrambled brain as well?
I just can't think of anything. I appreciate the fact that, you know, everything that I was feeling and what I was thinking and what I was, curious about was answered and so much more. And the fact that like it honed in on, and I'm trying not to cry because I have work, but it honed in on like the reason why I'm going into the career path that I am is to help me with the fear from all the other timelines and all of that because of the fear of death. It's helping me with that. So I thank you for that.
And you're correct. I want to emphasize that. If this is your last lifetime here, and it probably is, otherwise you wouldn't be doing the show, is to overcome the fear of death. So, including me, I have a big fear of dying, even though I know we don't die. I've had a few experiences, right? Because we were going to remember we always existed, we were never born, and we will never die. So this was a limiting belief that was placed on us, and which is why for the people, it is their last lifetime in the 3D game. Because the other games, you don't have to physically die. It's only in this game that you die, which is why it's showing up. So it's a good thing. And you did the right choice. So thank you again.
Oh, this has been one hell of an episode. I want to thank everyone who has been watching, been listening so far. If your brains are as scrambled as ours are, or if you have come to any epiphanies, please do let us know. You can leave those in the comments down below, or you can find us on our website, www.greathornpagans.com. Just shoot us a message either over our website or any of the social medias that are on there. Tell us what you thought about this. Tell us what you thought about Sophia, because we are definitely having her back on, but I need a break from this first, because this was a lot, but it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, don't forget to leave a like in this video, share it with everybody. I mean, I always tell you to share this with everybody, but if you're gonna share one of our episodes, let it be this one. Subscribe for more. And again, check out our website, www.greyhornpagans.com, for everything that we do on the podcast with the tribe and more. You can find Fire Fate there as well, of course. So, yeah, I think that is everything said and done. Thank you all. Until next time.